Tuesday, and you're listening to Murder Unscripted.
What is up, Crime Crew? Welcome to a very special episode number 62 of Murder Unscripted, the most immersive true crime podcast on the internet today. I'm your host, veteran true crime television producer Ed Hydock, along with my bestie, a woman who knows 10 times more about these true crime cases than I do, Melissa Spivey.
10 times? 10 times? Let's say 20 times.
Okay, that's fair.
Maybe 30.
It's true. You're right. Well, Melissa, I mentioned this is a pretty special day here on Murder Unscripted as we continue our block of July cases that we called Girl Power. And anyone who tuned in last week heard the story of a case that flipped the true crime world upside down. Ariel Castro and the House of Horrors that he maintained at 2207 Seymour Avenue in Cleveland, Ohio. For more than a decade, he had held 3 women captive. And I shouldn't say women because at the time, 2 of them were under 18 at the time of their abductions. And the unspeakable horrors that went on in that house are something that you would not wish on your worst enemy.
Yeah, the past 2 episodes have been rough, but I gotta say, it's been inspirational for me personally, because now I'm like, nothing that goes wrong in my day is anywhere close to what those girls went through, so I need to suck it up.
It really does put things into perspective, like daily life problems, doesn't it?
Yes, and you know I love to whine, so...
I do. You are a big whiner, yeah. Well, despite everything that went on in that house, at the end of the day, this is a story about survival, about bravery, about rebirth. And we could not be more proud today to welcome to the show one of the 3 people who lived through this nightmare. Ladies and gentlemen, Lily Rose Lee, formerly known as Michelle Knight.
Hi, how are you?
We're doing fine. Do you prefer to be called Lily Rose or do you go by Michelle still?
Lily.
All right, very cool.
I love that name. That's so pretty.
Thank you.
And I feel like it's a happy name. I don't know, like, maybe because lilies are, like, so pretty. I don't know.
So, when I was younger, I always had a fascination with many different types of flowers. Lilies are one of them because lilies is peace and kindness at heart. So, that's the reason why I decided to put my name as Lily, and then my middle name was Rose, and that was because of my best friend when I was younger. Her mother used to take care of me when I was having bad situations at home. And then my last name was after my son's name because his middle name is Lee.
Oh, very
okay.
cool.
So I put little pieces of me and wrapped it all into one and made it my new name and my rebirth of, being out of that house and just generally being myself.
Very cool. Well, one of the things that I want to say before we get started is that this interview is going to be different in the sense that everything that happened to you in that house is the stuff that we care about the least. And I don't mean that in any kind of way. Like, I don't want to downplay that, but my God. So because that stuff is out there. I mean, you've made media appearances, you've written books. So anyone who wants to hear the nitty gritty details can find that information.
Yeah. So if anybody never heard of it, they've been living under a rock and need to go grab the book.
For real.
You are not kidding. Obviously, we'll need to, for the people so there is a younger generation now that are being introduced to these stories.
Yes.
So we're going to have to touch a little bit about what happened. So while we are going to kind of hint on some of that stuff, we want this to be a welcome, comforting environment where we can talk about the journey to healing. So
That is
great.
perfect.
Well, if you're okay with it, I'd like to start with a little bit of backstory because we all know that you're from Cleveland, but you weren't born in Cleveland, right? You were actually born in Florida. So I'm curious to see how you ended up in Cleveland to begin with.
So, long story short, unfortunately, as you know, most families don't stay in one place for a long period of time. So, unfortunately, in my life, I never stayed in one place. I went to multiple different schools, multiple different areas, from Florida all the way down. From where I could remember, I remember driving. Not me per se. I remember my family driving from one place to the next, and we were living in a car for a while. And we would stop periodically around the areas, eating fruits off of people's trees and things like that, just to survive.
Wow.
And with that being said, you never know what your predicament is going to be as a child. And it's not like we asked to be born into this situation, but we were.
Yeah.
So my family was the type of family that was highly abusive. Unfortunately, I went through tremendous torture with my family, just like I went through tremendous torture inside the house. My story doesn't just start inside the house, it starts from way back when I was a child. So, unfortunately, I was molested as a child by multiple people in my family. I never stayed in one place, we were always moving around. Things just got, for me as a child, I never knew where my safe space was.
Mhm.
Wow. Well, about your family. So I know this is a touchy subject, so we don't have to go there if you don't want. But you have two twin brothers, right? And that was it in your family.
That is just half of the truth. I'm not for sure about the rest right now. I'm still learning as we go on. That would be another story for another time. But as of this moment, I have two twin brothers and two sisters and counting.
Wow.
Wow. How do you feel about that?
Um, Per se, I don't really know them very well, except for my two twins, my two twin brothers. The other two I do not know very well. And to be honest with you, I was treated differently, me and my brothers, compared to the kids that she has now.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. Well, one of the fascinating things to me was that, there's a reason I'm asking this. So I had read, and I think I heard it in an interview. I don't remember who it was with, but you mentioned that things were so bad that you guys had to cook on a space heater.
Yes, we actually had to cook beans and hot dogs on a space heater, which was very gross. But I end up making them really good to where my brothers would eat them. But now they refuse to eat hot dogs and beans ever
No, I
again.
don't blame
I
them one bit.
bet.
Because that was the only source of food at that moment we had to actually eat.
Mhm.
We didn't have a stove. We didn't have a working refrigerator. We had to literally buy our food the same day and eat it the same day.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. And the reason I asked that is because that level of self-reliance back then, it played a big part in what happened to you in that house and your whole survival story. Like it basically those techniques that you had learned early on, I think helped save your life. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, very fair statement. I feel that because of not having the correct home life and the correct parenting, and even though she wasn't perfect, I would say I did learn a lot of stuff that most children would not want to learn their first go around. But I'm glad I learned it because it gave me the strength to go through the things that I've been going through ever since the house and before the house. It's like all the things that we learn over the course of the years, we have to somehow erase all the bad that was taught to us and reteach ourselves how to be efficient in this time. I would say phones were the most difficult for me because I was abducted when there was just flip phones and beepers.
Mm-hmm.
Those big, giant, ugly phones that you put in your pocket. So coming out of the house and there's Teslas and there's all kinds of other things, I'm like,
It's like, this is outer space. Like, what is this world?
yes. Like, where did I just went into a cyber bubble and went,
Wow.
I have a question. When you were about 15, you decided to run away. How difficult was that? And how on earth did you manage to survive on the streets at 15?
well, unfortunately, living with my parents, I learned a lot of dumb stuff that I shouldn't have learned, like how to sell drugs and how to be, efficient in street smarts. Not that I wanted to know it, but I'm glad I did because it saved my life living on the streets because there was a lot of things that could potentially happen. One is for anyone out there that has a kid that has ever ran away, don't let cops tell you or police officers that it's not important that they're a runaway. Just let them be, because potentially they can be in a predicament where they're being sold in human trafficking, um, sold for drugs, sold over the state. It's a lot of like dark stuff in that type of environment. But for me, it was a kind hearted soul that came up to me and said, "Hey, I am going to help you."
Hmm.
And with that being said, I was scared of everybody, so I didn't really trust at first. But I let him, help me because I needed it. I needed to stop living in the garbage can. It was too cold. I was freezing half of the time. I was using people's blankets that they would hang outside, just to stay warm. No food, no nothing. And this was at the time when I ran away was about around Thanksgiving. It was really cold, very freezing. And I lived under a bridge in a metal garbage can. And the only source of comfort that I had was a homeless boy that was about 17 that was with me. And we end up going with the guy to get help. And we noticed that he was a drug dealer. We noticed that, he had a lot of bad stuff going on. We didn't let that bother us because it was better than living on the
Sure.
streets. To be honest with you, in like when people say, "Oh, I wouldn't put myself in that predicament," I would tell them, "You never know what you would do until you have that is the only choice that you ever have, is to either live on the streets or sell drugs."
Yeah.
I'll bet you don't take anything for granted anymore, like even basic things like heat, electric.
Just the normal things, just the very least little bit of things, like going outside, being able to look at the morning sun and the sunset at night, smelling the fresh air and the flowers, just being able to simply brush your teeth and comb your hair.
Yeah.
Those are the simple things that people do without when they're in predicaments like that.
Sure.
And being where I was, I didn't have no toothbrush. I didn't have nothing. I was literally brushing my teeth with my finger with Dawn dish
Oh
soap,
my
which is
gosh.
pretty dang disgusting, by the way. And that's the only thing that he would give us to brush our teeth.
Oh my goodness. So before we talk about the house, you found that local Baptist church that provided some resources. And I read your book about
Yes.
how like you really liked singing hymns. Did that make you like religious, or did you feel like does religion play a large role in your life because of that church?
Well, I would say it this way. As a young girl, I was taught that any type of religion was horrible, bad. I wasn't allowed to even listen to hymns when I was younger. I was beat because of listening to hymns or listening to songs, period. I was told dancing, singing, and other things was the devil,
Wow.
basically. So when I did get to hear the songs, and they were beautiful. And the only thing that I can do is rejoice with them. But I felt embarrassed because of, the smell and everything. So I just decided to go into the bathroom and wash up. And I seen a dress that was hanging there, and I just put it on, and I just made myself a little bit normalized for everybody else because I felt embarrassed.
Right.
When you were a captive, did you think of those moments, and did religion at all then play a role in getting you through?
Well, I would say it'll be later on, um, when religion plays a role. Um, I don't know how far you want to go because it's going to go pretty far deep into the house. So one day, he decided to feed me a sandwich that I was highly allergic to, and he knew it, and he done it anyway. And I didn't realize what was on the sandwich until the first time I already ate it. The second day, he forced a sandwich that I noticed the mustard being on the sandwich. I'm allergic to mustard seed. So mustard seed is the main thing that's in mustard. So the very next day, after not knowing this, that I already ate a sandwich that had it in it, because I started coughing, I thought I was getting sick
Wow.
inside the house. So the very next day, when it was actually visible and I can see the mustard on the sandwich, I fought him and I told him, I cannot eat this. I'm going to get very sick and I might die. So he shoves the sandwich down my throat. A chunk of it broke off,
Mm.
and I had no choice but to swallow it because he was trying to shove the rest of the sandwich in my mouth.
Mm-mm.
So during this time, my face had swelled up very big. I couldn't open my eyes. I couldn't talk at all. I was coughing just to get a little breathe of air inside my lungs so I can breathe. And the only thing I remember is passing in and out, throwing up all the time, my face swelling, and him making fun of me because my face was swollen, and saying, "Look at that ugly face. Look at how ugly she looks." And I didn't have the voice to even say anything back to him. I just flipped him the finger.
Wow. Good for you.
and and as soon as I started passing in and out and couldn't breathe anymore, I had told Gina with the only breath in my lungs, I said, if I die, tell my son I love him. And then she turns to me and says, "Honey, you're not going to die. I'm right here with you." And
Wow.
I said, "I don't know how much longer I can last. I don't know how much longer I can stay alive." And some for some pure dumb luck, and I'm calling it pure dumb luck because at the time I didn't know what it was. He kept on feeding me cough syrup. He kept on overdosing me on cough
Oh my
syrup.
goodness.
I fell asleep. I thought I was falling asleep. And the only thing I can think of is praying to God to please, if I survive this, make sure we get out safe. Make sure that we get out of this house alive. And I seen this big bright light. I thought I was going to heaven.
Wow.
I thought I was leaving this earth. And when I woke up, Gina says, "I told you you'll survive it."
Wow.
Unreal.
And all I can remember is that bright light shining in my face. And that's when God entered my heart and my soul and told me this is not my time
Wow.
and sent me back. And I woke up. When you know how when you wake up you go,
Yeah.
that's exactly how I woke up.
Crazy. Well, I want to back up a sec, Michelle, or Lily, because there's something that I want to clear up because I have heard mixed reports, and we can cut this out if you don't want to talk about this, but I had read a report, and I want to say it was from your mom, and it pains me to say, but I want to talk about Joey for a second because he was the product, from what I understand, of your first real relationship. But then I had read an article that said he was the result of basically a sexual assault.
Unfortunately, people got that a little bit mixed up. Yes, there was a sexual assault, but it wasn't the father of my baby. It was before I knew that I was pregnant.
Okay.
Okay.
So I went to school. I fell in love with a guy named Jacob. He was an awesome person. Unfortunately, our families didn't vibe. So we kind of broke it off. And with that being said, I did have sex with him and we did formulate a child. And then after I found out that I was pregnant, a group of guys in my school decided they were going to gang rape
Oh
me.
my God.
Well,
I almost lost my son because of that.
you did lose him then as the result of something else. So we don't have to get into, we told the story last week about how, but how did that loss compound the trauma that you'd already endured as a child? That had to be like the icing on this awful cake.
So, with that being said, I turned to alcohol to cope. Unfortunately, I am sober. I do not drink as much as I used to. I used to be where I drink a fifth of vodka a day, and now I can drink without no problem. I can have one or two and go home and be fine. But when my son was taken away from me, it was like somebody had took a dagger into my heart and just twisted it.
So this leads us back to August of 2002. Can you kind of walk us through this? Because in a nutshell, you were scheduled to attend a custody hearing to get Joey back.
Well, the custody hearing was already done. It was where I was going to actually get him back. So we were going to, I forgot what it was called. It was a place where you get the May Dugan Center. It's a place where you go for single moms to get housing, benefits, things like that. So I was getting him back. It was just the only problem was I never made it to the
Oh,
to there to actually, get the stuff that I needed to get him back.
That makes it worse somehow because I thought this was like a battle that you were fighting, but to find out you won the battle and this happens, it's just unreal.
And all I had to do was get the housing and the job and everything else, and I would have got him back in 2 weeks. It just didn't work
wow.
out as I planned because, unfortunately, being that my family was not reliable, they left me
Mm-hmm.
standing there with no car.
Hmm.
Not that I can drive, unfortunately, I had to depend on other people. And the same as it is right now, unfortunately, because I'm legally blind in one eye, I'm unable to
Wow.
drive. And that's because of inside the house. He had hit me with a barbell in my face. So he made me deaf in this ear and blind in this eye.
Can we talk about Ariel Castro? He was your friend Emily's dad, right?
Yes.
And had you had any interactions with him in the past?
I would say I knew of him. I seen him quite a few times picking up Rosie and Emily at Deanna's house. That's where I knew them from, was from my cousin
Okay.
Deanna. And I've met him only one time, and I didn't think that he was really a bad person. That was the image that I got because I'm like, I don't like, who would think that their friend's father would be a total jerk?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have gotten the car if you didn't trust him.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, people don't realize you never know until you're in the predicament. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what happened to me. I never know until I'm in the predicament. And when I got in his car, I didn't think nothing of it until he started spinning around in the parking lot. That's what made me a little bit eerie.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't think nothing of it because it seemed like he was just turning around, and it seems like I was just being a little over dramatic, maybe. So
Hmm.
I was like, didn't really, I brushed that off because it really didn't seem horrible. It just felt horrible to the stomach. Um, as
Yeah.
we were getting closer to where we were supposed to turn, that's when I said, "Hey, we got to turn here. We're not supposed to turn that way." He says, "I got to stop off and get Emily." So, I didn't think nothing of it. So I don't want him to leave his daughter stranded outside. So I said, "Okay." And he was talking about his dog. He was talking about all kinds of different things. And he was talking about how he was going to take me and Emily and Deanna and everybody to the skating rink, blah, blah, blah. You know how that goes. It never happens. And
Hmm.
as he was sitting there talking to me, we pull up to his driveway and he says, "Emily's inside. I'm going to go get her." So he comes back out. He says, "Emily said, can you come in?" I said, "No, I can't. I gotta go." He says, "If I go
Yeah.
in, it's only gonna be for a couple minutes because I can't stay." And so I go in. The first picture I see is Emily. I said, "Oh, there she is." just smiling. And, after that, he says, well, Emily's upstairs. And, as I'm going up the stairs, he says, oh, by the way, I got puppies. Maybe you can take one to your son since you're going to be getting him back. And I'm not going to say no to a puppy, a free one anyway.
Yeah.
So I was
Right.
like, okay, where's Emily? And he says, oh, up here. You should see her really soon. And then I was like going up the stairs and I'm like, hold up, wait a minute. If you have puppies, why don't I hear something? And by that time it was already too
Yeah.
late. I was already in the door. So when
Mm.
he pushed me over. He took my purse, took everything out of it, took my phone, everything. And the worst part about what he did at that point, he took the only picture I had of my son and ripped it up in front of me and said, you'll never see him again.
Oh my
Probably like ripping your
God.
heart in half.
And at that point, I dropped to the floor. I was begging for him to let me go. And after that, it was horrible. Just outright horrible.
The manipulation with the puppy, I don't know, it adds a level of downright monstrousness to this entire thing because, I mean, given what we know about him, it doesn't surprise me, but has that event shaped your intuition today? Like, are you more wary of people or are you more skeptical of people?
I do not trust a lot of people anymore. I do try to let them know that you have to earn my trust because I don't give it freely.
Yeah, absolutely.
How does the dynamic change when, so before Gina shows up, Amanda shows up for almost a year. So how did that change things?
I would say he was still a monster. I would say he was more say a Jekyll and Hyde. He was like one way outside the house and then one way inside the house. So he's super sweet and nice outside the house, where he can fool anybody and everybody out there. But inside the house, he was that type of person that was very controlling, very monstrous. Um, wanted you to do what he wanted to do. If he didn't get his way, he'll beat you. Now, for the other two girls, I do not know if they have gotten hurt by him. All I do
Hmm.
know is that I have. Because at that point, we were all kept in separate rooms and we weren't allowed to talk to each other.
Would you have preferred to be able to talk? I would imagine that would have made it a little bit easier to have somebody that's enduring the same thing that you could at least talk about it.
Yes, I would have been not comfortable, but I would have felt a little bit like I can sympathize with what she's going through. And she could sympathize with what
Yeah.
I'm going through.
Sure.
So when Amanda's baby was born, I guess the dynamics had to have shifted again. So how did caring for a child inside, how did that change things?
It was not normal.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. It was not normal. As far as, all the things that happened during that time, like I said, I was forced to help her give birth and threatened by a gun if that the child died that I would. So
Mm.
I was very scared and nervous at that point. Um, I
With
didn't
good
know
reason.
exactly what was going to happen because I wasn't a nurse. I wasn't a nurse. I didn't know heads or tails what was going to go down, if she was going to come out breathing or if she is not going to come out breathing, or what was going to happen, because anything could have happened and it would have been out of my control.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, she did come out not breathing, but I did get her to breathe. I opened up her airways, not the way that I wanted to open up her airways, but I opened it up the only way I knew how. And that was
Yeah, you
For
slightly,
saved
you.
her
yeah,
life.
slightly turning her over, letting her neck like balance on my arm while her butt was underneath here, and like lightly packing at her back, because that's the only way, because we didn't have a syringe, we didn't have any other alternatives to even do anything like that.
You're a savior.
Yeah.
And I think that's from me giving, I helped a puppy give birth, and one of her puppies didn't come out breathing. And I did the same thing with that one as well. Because at that time, I didn't know how to do it. I was just only, I would say, 11 years old. So I was trying my best.
Wow.
Figuring it out.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, and then like clockwork, and this was strange to me because almost a year to the day after Amanda entered the house, then Gina DeJesus shows up. And
Yes.
Gina is young, like we're talking 14. And what was fascinating to me is that I was wanting to ask you if you found yourself, because of the way you took care of your siblings growing up, did you have this natural maternal instinct?
I found myself being the mother bear of the house. I found myself trying to protect everybody and anyone, even though it hurt me.
Well, then you guys all 10 freaking years now. So all three of you are in there, and another decade passes. And during that time, obviously some horrendous things were happening to you, but at some point you have to lose the will to live.
I would say for me, being trapped in a house for 11 years, I did lose the will to live, and I tried to commit suicide 3 times.
Wow.
Wow.
I wish it was successful, but now I don't, because I'm here and I'm live and I'm just out here, just trying to be me. The only thing we had was television or a light that he turned on when he felt like it. We didn't have no fan, we didn't have no air conditioner. We literally, when people say that it's pretty darn hot outside, try being in a house pretty darn hot.
I can't imagine.
Heat exhaustion, trying not to pass in and out. We tried not to do very many things like move around, because if we did move around a lot, we would get really exhausted and pass out
Sure.
because of the lack of food and the lack of everything that we gotten.
Well, I want to jump to May 6, 2013, which is the day you were rescued. I'm sure like the whole day is probably a blur, but can you walk us through like what you remember?
Oh my gosh. Well, I would say the day that I was rescued, it was like no other day. It was kind of odd because normally he locks all of our doors, and at that point I thought my door was locked. So I really didn't question it at the time. When I started hearing noises downstairs, I was like, okay, is something going on down there between him and Amanda that is getting very violent, or what's going on, or is somebody breaking in? Because I didn't hear her screaming, I just heard a lot of noise. Then I'm sitting here and noise stopped for a minute. Didn't hear. Then I heard another noise, and then I said, Gina, before all this happened, I was turned to Gina when I was turning the radio up and down so I wouldn't hear the noise because I was afraid it was something bad happening.
Sure.
I said, what if today is the day we go home? What if
Wow.
Mother's Day is the day that you get to walk through your door and say Happy Mother's Day to your mom? And she said that would be
Wow.
nice. And then that's when I heard more noise. So I automatically checked the door to see if it's unlocked or not. So, yes, it was unlocked. So I pushed it open. I said, Amanda, are you okay? She didn't answer. So I assumed something was wrong. So I said, I hear noise, hide over there. Let's just in case something happens, grab something so we could protect ourselves with, because we didn't know what was happening. We didn't know what
Of
was
course.
going
Yeah.
on. And then after that, we hear police, police. And I said, no, Gina, you got to remember, he used to play those tricks on us all the time, where he used to sit there and pretend to, leave his house and then, leave one of us unlocked or something like that, and then come upstairs and beat the crap out of us. So, for one incident, backing up just a little bit, there was a time that I did try to run, and this was a very difficult uh, time because this is the time that he gave me a puppy. And that's like a couple years after living in the house. And he sat there and left my lock unlocked. I took that opportunity to run down that stairs as quick as I can, grab that puppy and put it in a bag, and
Damn right.
literally was gonna run out that door. I didn't care. I
Wow.
didn't realize it was a trick. He was hiding behind that door. And he pulled the sheet down. He came through and he just bum rushed me, slammed me on the back of my neck. He gave me so much nerve damage that it's really hard to function. I drop dishes. I have a lot of problems, you know, with my nerves. Sometimes my leg will give out. Um, then the ultimate horrible thing, and only a monster can hurt something that would never hurt them back. He
Yeah.
broke that dog's neck in front of me.
Oh my
That's
god.
when I vow that if I have ever had a rescue, that I'll be giving second chances to those type of animals that's been extremely
Mhm.
abused by their owners, and giving them a loving and peaceful home until they're able to find their special person.
Good for you.
I love that. So, the day of the rescue, when you heard the police, it had to have been surreal. Like, did you think that was a trick? Like, even when they came upstairs?
Until I seen the badge, until I literally seen that badge and that person's shadow of the face, I didn't really believe it. But when
Yeah.
she pulled that curtain over and she says, "Police, police," I knew it wasn't a fake. And when she did that, I said, "Give me 1 second. Gina's in the back. She's not dressed." And I told her, "Get your shirt on, get a pair of shorts on. We're going home." And before all that, I literally ran into this lady's arms and said, "Don't let me go. Don't
Wow.
let me go." Because I was literally at that point, I I was it was ups and down roller coaster at that point. I didn't know how to feel, but I knew I felt joy. I didn't know what home I was going to, but I felt joy.
Didn't matter. Wasn't there. So who cares, you
Yes.
know? Yeah.
So, when you got out of the house, like, what was your first sensation? Like, was it the sun on your face, or were there any sounds or smells?
Oh my gosh, just walking out that door, the first thing I did is fall to the ground and kiss the ground that I was walking on and thank God for giving me a second chance to live life. And I'm telling you, being for years being trapped in the dark, having that light shine in my face was a little bit unbearable. My eyes couldn't focus. But I also was having some issues, so I don't know how far you guys got to read. But I was sick when I left the
Mm-hmm.
house.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, I was more worried about my health and my son, where's my son, than anything in the world.
Yeah, I mean, when you got to the hospital, doctors told you didn't have long to live, but obviously you fought through that after everything you've been through.
I would say it was a rough ride with what I was going through. Um, C. diff is not something to play with, and it's not a very comfortable sickness to have. I was bleeding, and I was bleeding when I went to the bathroom. So it was
Mm.
excruciating pain. I would throw up. I couldn't hold anything down. It felt like thousands of knives tearing at my stomach and turning
Oh,
all at the same time. They told me that day, no, it wasn't that day. It was the next day. They said, "Hey, honey, we hate to tell you this, but you only have 3 days to live."
wow.
I sat there and I said, "Can you please leave my room for a minute or maybe a day or so?" And then when they came back in my room, I said, "Honey, I'm not going to die today. I'm not going to die tomorrow. God didn't place me
Damn
on
right.
back on this earth just to let go now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to fight this. I don't care what it takes. Give me whatever doctor that I need to make sure I stay alive.
You're incredible. Seriously.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One thing I wanted to ask you. So I know that he would sometimes withhold food from you or give you food that wasn't exactly fresh. But are there any foods today that still transport you back to that time? Like I think rice and beans.
Pizza Hut, because he gave me a pizza out of the dumpster and he thought I would eat it.
Oh,
And I looked at him, I was like, "Are you crazy? You can eat this, but I will not eat this." I end up starving for a full month because I chose not to eat it.
That pains me because Pizza Hut, I think, is one of the greatest. Pan pizza, there's nothing better.
Well, maybe one day I'll try it,
There you go.
but I haven't got there yet. I'm
I
still
get
I'm
that.
still
That's
working
fair.
I'm still working on my triggers. I would say you're never fully healed, but you try to have some type of normalcy. It's
Sure.
really hard for a person that has PTSD, and it's really hard, especially with triggers, because I used to tell my husband that since I am now married, I used to tell my husband, "Honey, you can't wear that cologne. I don't want you wearing that cologne. You can't wear that cologne." I would throw it away, and he'll rebuy it. And one day he finally asked me, he was like, "Why don't you want me to wear this?" I was like, "Because that's the same thing he wore."
oh,
God.
yeah.
And I imagine from what Melissa was telling me, he stank pretty bad. Not that she had firsthand experience, but things
Yeah,
that she
no.
was reading, the details that I was like, I didn't know that he smelled so bad.
Yeah. Let's just say BO and lasagna breath, or pepperoni breath, I should say, mixed with
Oh,
onions and all kinds of garbage.
Oh,
It smelled just like hot garbage.
oh.
gross. So, can you tell us a little bit about like your steps to recovery? I mean, this is only something that a handful of people in the world have experienced.
So I would say a lot of people would think I'm crazy. A lot of people would think I'm crazy on the technique that I went for. I did not have a therapist. I did not take a bunch of medications.
Hmm.
But I will tell you, I did do some things that I thought was very, you know, therapeutic and very awesome to do for a person that literally could not talk to people. So I decided to do equine therapy, where
Wow.
it's nothing but animals, and the only person that you talk to is the instructor to help you out with the animal. And I felt that being able to tell this beautiful, amazing horse my story without being judged, without being criticized,
Mhm.
without being treated like garbage, which I'm going to tell you in a few minutes why I said that. Um, Being able to just have somebody in your life that would not judge you for anything in the world, and that's what animal does for you, because they
Yeah.
love you unconditionally. It doesn't matter what you do in life, how sad you are. They will try to make you have a smile on your face each and every day if they can do it. But I did try therapy the first 2 years, and the person, not mentioning names or the place, the person was a jerk, and a male jerk at that. He turned around and said, "I'm putting myself through my own self pain."
What?
What?
And I sat there and I looked at him. I said, "No disrespect, man, but I did not chain myself up to a pole. I did not gag myself. I did not beat myself. And I did not rape myself.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
For you to have the audacity to tell me that, you are a number one jerk and you do not deserve the paperwork that you have to be labeled as a good therapist."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because God forbid that you have a daughter that's been through my situation. What would you tell her?
I don't blame you for talking to horses instead.
And the guy told me to leave his room. I was like, well, I'm leaving your room, but I'm not paying you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
Good.
And he was like, well, see my assistant out there. I'm like, see, I walked right past her.
Yeah. See her in my rearview mirror. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
after that, I did not talk to a person that was a therapist because I felt that instead of trying to help me, they was doing more than they were doing less than helping me. They were judging me for what they don't understand.
Well, Lily, we were talking this whole month kind of about girl power, and you had the courage to go into court and during his sentencing hearing and face him and read a statement, which is so empowering. So tell us a little bit about what you said.
I can't remember everything on there, but I do have it written down in my notebook somewhere. But I did say that how can he go on living his life knowing what he was doing behind closed doors, thinking that it was okay to hold a precious life in your hands, treating them like crap, beating them and hurting them, but going to church and calling
Yeah.
yourself godly.
Yeah.
Hypocrite.
And I said, days turned into nights, nights turned into years. Now your hell is just beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't necessarily the case, right? Because not long after he was in jail, you
He
obviously
committed
you get the
suicide.
news. Yeah, how did you feel?
Didn't care. I just wish that he would have spent his life in prison.
Exactly. That's what I was going to ask. Was this justice?
He took he took the easy way out, and that's what a coward would do.
You talked about forgiving Castro broke your emotional chains. It takes an incredible person to forgive someone like that. How? I can't forgive someone for like cutting me off in traffic. Like
Yeah, she sent me a text the other day. She was mad at somebody on the I was like, Melissa, come on.
For me, I felt that if I didn't break the emotional chain, that he would be the devil winning. And I didn't want the devil to win. I didn't want the devil to control who I am or what I do in my life. So I took back my life by forgiving him.
Good for you.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
So you have a lot of tattoos, and one of them reads, "Know me as a victor, not a victim." Can you share the story like behind that piece and any other ones that have special meaning?
So for me, for that one, I just wanted people out there to know me as a victor, not a victim. I am no longer a victim anymore. I am a survivor, and I am pushing through all the pain that I'm going through. I'm not letting anyone, condemn me into thinking that I am a bad person because of what I went through. Because a lot of people don't realize that, like I said, you never know what you would do until it's the only thing that you have, the only choice that you ever have is by being
Mm-hmm.
strong. And by
Hmm.
being strong doesn't make you weak, doesn't make you an horrible person. It makes you the hero of your own story.
Giving me a complex now. I have a Jeep grill because I like Jeeps. I was
Oh, I love Jeeps too.
oh, perfect.
But I would say there's another tattoo that's on me as well. It's called a tattered storybook. So it's
Ooh,
basically my whole entire book, my whole entire life that has tattered pages to it, and it has a anchor at the bottom, which is telling people not to let your story be poison in your life. Let your
wow.
story be the uplifting and hope for others that are going through that similar situation. Because we don't have a lot of hope when this type of stuff happens. A lot of parents lose hope on their child coming home. A lot of people lose faith in just the general things in life because things are getting too rough. I want people to never give up on themselves.
In a situation like this, I guess the only silver lining is that something good comes out of it. And it seems like you and the other two girls too are just doing your best to change the narrative and show that you will not be victims.
Yes.
So when you wrote Finding Me and then later Life After Darkness, it captured different stages of your recovery. What surprised you about yourself while writing these books?
I didn't know how strong I was until I was writing my book. I really didn't, because it takes a lot of strength to tell your story and to share your life with the world, and in hopes that they see that finding myself after everything that's happened to me, and then life after darkness and light being shed into my life, and being able to have it's like having a family that is not biological. I have an adopted dad named Jim. He's absolutely amazing. He goes karaoke with me. We dance, we sing together, we have
So cool.
fun. Then I have my husband, which does the same thing, and this for the very first time because he's a homebody. He finally went out and he joined karaoke with me, and I got to sing his
Wow.
favorite song,
Which
"Fool
is
Fall
what?
in Love."
Oh.
Oh, I love that.
So me and my husband, for like I tell people, I love all the older music versus the newer music, because the newer
Same.
music kind of don't want to toot anybody's horn out there or make them feel bad. It just sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not good. I
Fair.
agree with you. Well, you know what, Michelle, that was a good transition to, because 2016, you married Miguel Rodriguez, and this was on the third anniversary of your freedom. So I want you to tell us about this lucky man. Like, who is he, and how did you meet, and what? This is an important part of the question, because how on God's green earth do you trust a man ever again?
Seriously.
So I'm going to tell you, this is not something I expected to happen. I just expected a friendship, not anything more. And we just kept on talking. We just kept on vibing. And we first talked on the telephone. We text back and forth. We even text through Facebook. I knew a couple of his family members. So that's how we like hit it off a little bit. Then after that, he says, if we're meant to be, we will meet. But it wouldn't be us saying, I want to meet you somewhere. It'll be God's will. So, with a funny story. So, we are in a restaurant. Didn't think nothing of it. I'm coming out of the bathroom. He's coming out of the bathroom. We're both with two separate parties at two different tables on other sides of the
Oh my
room.
God.
We bump into each other, and I said, holy crap, you're real. Like you're real. You're actually
Yeah.
a real human being. Because when I see Facebook things, I think of catfish.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, right? Mm-hmm.
So I think of catfish like, you're just tooting my horn. You're not really real. This is just totally fake. So the very next time that we go to talk on the phone, he says, honey, I realized who you are. And I want to know you for who you are now, not what you went through. I understand that you've been through a difficult thing. And this is when I asked him if he wanted to read my book. He said, no, I want to know you for who you are now.
Good for you. Did he read it then? Like, did he learn the kind of gory details?
No, we actually sat down and had a conversation about it, because I wanted him to know that if we do enter in a relationship, there will be some issues that we have to conquer together. And he
Sure.
says, you know what? I'm glad that you had this opportunity to, to speak with me and be able to tell me about this. And I thank you for letting me into your heart. And he, like, literally, I'm like flabbergasted on how he's talking to me and how he's, not like overly like, oh, I want to know. I want to know this. I want to know that. He just wants me to be able to talk freely without feeling pressured or you know like you have to do it.
Sure.
So I'm
And that's
like,
got to help you too. That's got to be so
yes.
comforting for you.
So I'm sitting here, I'm like, where was this angel before? Like, where was he
Aw.
Seriously.
before? And I
Wow.
smiled at him and I said, thank you for being super understanding about my situation and understanding that there might be issues down the road. And we did come along those issues, because I've, as you know, I've been abused by multiple people in my life. And, you know, intimacy was kind of like maybe an issue, but we conquered that. And he understood like what things not to do and what things he can do,
Sure.
and he was cool with that, and I was just happy that he was super understanding.
Aw.
He literally opened up my eyes to like not every man is the same.
Mm-hmm.
He
Yeah.
sounds amazing.
He
He
is
does.
awesome. I can't wait for you guys to meet him. I wish he was at home right now.
I know. Well, we're going to come out sometime. We'll get lunch.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Perfect. So something I wanted to ask you, and this just came to my mind last weekend. So I went to this thing called Blob Fest, and it's basically the next town over from us has an old movie theater that was part of the original movie, the 1958 film The Blob, and it was filmed partially in this theater. So my wife and I, we go to this little festival. We're sitting in there watching a movie called Evil Dead 2. It's an old cheesy horror movie. And this guy is basically trying to survive in this cabin. And I'm sitting there thinking about you this whole time. And I wanted to ask you, do you watch horror movies? Because I imagine that you lived a horror movie, that it would have to be really
only
tough.
the funny ones, not the
Mhm.
gory
Okay.
ones. Unfortunately, I can't do gory. Neither can my
Yeah.
husband. My husband, he has a backstory too. He was harmed by a family member as well.
Oh, man.
So we literally we watch the funny movies versus the gory
Hmm.
cut in the throat type stuff. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I figured. And I was just curious because I talked to somebody else who had been through not a situation like this, but something kind of similar. And she's like, I love horror movies. And I'm like, I don't understand how you do it.
No.
But crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how anybody can watch the any kind of like abduction movies, kidnapping movies,
Mm-hmm.
any of those type of things. Like I'm more like into fairy tale type things.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah. I don't
give me
blame
a
you.
second. And Dr. Doolittle.
Yeah, things with
Yeah.
animals. Well, did you see was it Taryn Manning played you? Did you see that movie? The Abduction, I guess it was called.
I actually did not have the opportunity to see the full movie because at the
Mm-hmm.
beginning I kind of cringed when I went to go try to.
Yeah,
So I
Mhm.
couldn't literally find myself to actually, do that.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to wrap up here, but I want to ask you before we go, what's next for you? What's next for Lily Rose Lee? Because you're not done. You're not done growing yet. You're not done finding this new you.
Oh
Finding
my
this
gosh,
new
I'm not
you.
done. I'm not so not done. I am I am actually conquering fears. So I have a fear of heights and I might be going skydiving really soon.
What? Oh my God.
Wow.
And I might be going ziplining as well before I go skydiving. So I want to get the feel for it first.
Yeah.
I went skydiving. It was the most hard. Like I did it once, and that is enough for me because they don't mess around. It's like an amusement park ride. To you, it's the biggest deal in the entire world, and for them, it's like next, and they just shove you out of the plane.
Oh yeah. And then you're like, okay, what do I do next? Pull, and
Yeah.
then
Yep,
you're
just
floating in the air. But yeah, I feel like for me that I hope to write a third book. I hope to be able to share more of my story, more of everything that I'm doing in life. I'm building more of my rescue, which is going to help a lot of people out there that are having hard times, especially the people that are in Texas and the
Mhm.
people that are in North Carolina. So they can have
Great.
places that, will be able to bring more animals in. Because unfortunately, when something like that happens, most of their rescues are wiped out.
Absolutely. That's why my wife and I entered the foster program, and one of the first dog that we had gotten maybe 6 months ago was from a flood down in North Carolina. So that's what a rewarding experience that's been. But it's so hard. You fall in love with these creatures, and then you have to say so long. But it's about remembering why you're doing it.
I would say the first dog that I actually got was a pit bull fighting ring dog. They told me that he wouldn't survive. They told me that he would not be a family dog. They told me all these different things, and he wouldn't be allowed to be around other animals.
Mm.
This amazing little pooch came into my life at the time when I had no one. And he is absolutely amazing. His name is Rascal. Unfortunately, we did lose him 2 years ago due to cancer, unfortunately. But I would say that the time that he spent with me, he had the most amazing life.
And that's what
From
it's
Really?
about.
being scared and panicking all the time and peeing on himself, to healing with me,
Yeah.
to be able to watch him, and for him to be able to help me heal and me being able to help him heal. It was a tremendous gift for me and him. I loved him to death, and he was my good morning and he was my worst goodbye.
My two dogs are the loves of my life. Like,
Yes, she's going to be a
sorry.
lunatic when they go.
They're never
Ugh.
going to go. They're living forever. It's fine.
That's what that's what I tell everybody. My dogs are gonna live
Yeah.
forever until
Yep.
that day
Mhm.
comes.
Yep.
Well, Lily, thank you so much for this. Seriously, you are an incredible inspiration.
Yeah.
Girl power, the epitome. Seriously, like with the things you survived, things you endured, and the person you've become. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Regardless of what happened to me, I have the best life.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for being here today. We
Thank you
really
so
appreciate it.
much.
You're very welcome, honey.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye. She is amazing.
Yeah, what can you say? I mean, that's as powerful as the story gets.
Oh, and to be able to forgive, that is like,
Different people react to trauma differently, but I feel like the people who are the happiest following these traumatic events are the ones that can somehow find it in their heart to forgive. And I'm not sure I would be that strong of a person, but good for her. I mean, that's awesome.
oh, I know I wouldn't be.
No, you're so vindictive.
So vindictive.
Well, that was incredible. Girl power. I mean, I think we did a great job between our minis and our core show. I think we profiled a lot of great, powerful women in the world of true crime.
Yes.
And we have something equally cool coming up for August. Melissa, you want to tell everybody what that is?
Our theme is going to be small town secrets.
And those cases are going to be ones that maybe they know who the perpetrator is, but no one's talking. They're these towns, believe it or not. We've covered a few of them. I think the pig murders, the Mayo, Michigan pig murders come to mind. There's a few, even Tara Sidorovich not that long ago, where these towns are just harboring these deep, dark secrets and they refuse to talk, which is why it takes so long to solve. So we have something super cool planned for August that's going to involve a little behind the scenes action too.
Get excited.
Get excited. Cool. So where can people find us, Melissa?
Well, they can hit us up on our socials at Murder Unscripted. You can email us at murderunscriptedpod@gmail.com. Or you can hit us up through our website, www.murderunscriptedpod.com.
That's it. So that is all for us, you guys. We will see you next week with a new block and a whole new batch of stories.
Yeah. And until then, be safe, be kind, and remember, perverts don't wear signs that say they're perverts.
No, they don't. Be on the lookout because they are lurking everywhere.
Always. Trust no one.
Adios.
Bye.